around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. Yeah,
get your boots ready. We're about to go on a trip where we wrestle nobody settling or calling it quits. You're here for the grit, betcha this stuff is amazing. You're stumbling? Welcome to the bump in the apron. Step into it, the hardest part of the ring. Here to bring fun, yeah, in this art he is king. It's the best thing, making sure you don't tap out. Don't go soft with the hardest podcast out. And it's not just another one, it's clear. Off the rest, in this content, none contest. Take the nonsense off the steps. You know it's nothing but pure gems when it's coming off the chest. Get it? Now it's time to sit and relax. Get your mind blown away, ain't no skipping a track. Have you paying more attention, no listening gap. Get everything I ever wanted, no giving it back.
Ooh, what's up everybody? Welcome to the Apron Bump Podcast. I am your host, the hardest part of the ring, Kyle. How's everybody doing today? Happy Christmas, happy Merry Holidays, Happy Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, all of them. Are there more? I feel like there's more versions out there. I'm just not abreast to them. What the fuck is Kwanzaa? Let's look up Kwanzaa. Do I have any Kwanzaas? Do I have any Kwanzaas? Well, that's also a form of currency, unless I'm spilling it. Can you fuck off? Also, this episode's already off the rails, and we're 2 seconds in. My cat's ripping at my wrist. I'm not wearing pants. What's a Kwanzaa? An Angolan Kwanzaa is about 1/12% of a US dollar, so fucking Kwanzaas are in the shitter. Who uses the Angolan Kwanzaa? See, you come for the wrestling, but you stay for the education. Oh, is there a... Wait a minute. What are we doing here? The Congo. Oh, Angola is a republic of the Congo. I think. Well, if any of those... I'm not going to say those people. If any of the people of this demographic are listening, first of all, thank you. Spread the word amongst all of these people. And, man, what are we even talking about? ECW. Doctor is in 1996. What a broadcast from Extreme Championship Wrestling. Very interesting show, as are pretty much every ECW show from this era. The past couple shows have been a little rough-ski. Not completely. Like, they've had some good stories, but the in-ring wasn't really up to par. This show, I think we're starting to right the ship a little bit, because some of the in-ring stuff is really good on this show, and they're maintaining those really good stories as well. We got Shane Douglas, new TV champion. He just linked up with Francine, who turned on the Pitbulls in the previous show. We've got Raven and Sandman continuing their story, where Raven has abducted his son, has kidnapped Sandman's son and his ex-wife, and now they're a part of Raven's flock. You got Stevie Richards is dressed up as Gene Simmons. You got Chris Jericho's here. Chris Jericho's last ECW match ever. We got tag team titles are on the line in a 4-way cluster. Dr. Death Steve Williams is here. He's in a match with Tazz and Brian Lee, and it's just it's a potpourri of shenanigans here, and I am excited to talk about it. And hey, we're talking about, I laid out earlier how like other shows might not have been up to snuff, but this one's a little bit. So with that in mind, you're really going to want to stick around at the end, where the hardest promotion battle of 1996 continues, where we will grade this show but we will also compare the product that ECW is putting out as of this date against what WCW and WWF are putting out. So as of August 3rd, 1996, we will look at what WCW and WWF are doing. So we got the NWO just kicking off. WWF, we were building the Shawn and Vader. We got a lot of stuff cooking in the wrestling industry at this point in the tail end of the summer of 1996. So we will compare all of the companies and the best and the worst, the best matches, worst matches, best wrestler, worst wrestler, best show. You know the deal. We'll get into all of it. We'll get into the points and the values and all that stuff. The winning promotion at the end of the year will get a purchase from me of a championship belt of that winning company. It's been an interesting, very interesting battle thus far, and we'll see if anything on this show makes the cut as far as best, worst, what have you. But stick around to the end for that, and stick around for everything else if you would like to hear me and my guest review this show. My guest being, of course, Katie from the ShElite Showcase, among other things. But the ShElite Showcase is her showcase. And so go check her out. Her and her co-host Savannah do a great show, a weekly live show. You can find it on Twitch and on YouTube. Anything ShElite Showcase or anything Katie Kinsey, go check out the link tree in the description of this episode, as well as Katie Wrasslin 13 on X. Check her out. Great show. All the stuff she does and all. She makes a lot of guest appearances on She's on Smacking It Raw podcast as pretty much the new head honcho over there, I would say. So lots of irons in the fire. Go check her out. Check me out at apronbump.com and at apronbump on all the social medias across the board. Hey, if you like ECW, or if you're just interested in learning about the history of ECW, or just kind of just gallivanting along the timeline of 1996 wrestling, you want to join me in watching this for the first time, as I am, or if you just have the nostalgia for this time period, go to apronbump.com. You can go to the episodes tab at the top. You can select any era or promotion that you'd like to hear me recap in chronological order, and you can select ECW. And again, that'll bring you to all of the ECW shows ever starting from November to Remember 1994, all the way, every single event up until now, almost 2 years into this thing. Chronologically, we're experiencing this new thriving company, these new hot upstarts like Jericho and Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit and Hack Myers, and it's just a cast of characters. It's a good old time. Go binge away. Find it at apronbump.com or wherever you listen to podcasts or YouTube. Give the video a like, a tickle, a kiss on the cheek. Do all of those things. I have rambled enough. Let's get into the show. ECW, The Doctor is in 1996 with myself and Katie from the ShElite Showcase. Scalloped potato, what's up?
The best.
Did I say potato or did I just say potato?
I heard potato.
I meant potato. I wasn't just calling you a potato rudely. I
do love potatoes, so like it's okay.
I'm running out of potato dishes. I had to Google like other ones.
Scalloped potato.
Scalloped potato. I think it'll catch on. I think that's the winner.
I mean, Cater Tot is top tier, the best one.
It is a good one. It rolls off the tongue.
It's probably my favorite one.
What does it mean to be scalloped? Let me make sure it's not a weird thing. Having an edge consisting of a row of curves.
Me. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. We'll go with it. Take it and run with it, I guess, if you want.
Yeah, hey, it's a compliment in my eyes.
I agree. It should be. How's life? It's been a while.
I know. Stranger. Long time no see. Yeah, life's good. I mean,
until you watch the show.
This isn't the worst show you've made me watch.
I will say this. I was hoping this would be an awful show because I liked the idea of introducing you to new promotions and having them be just
Shitty
drizzling shits. However, I would say this wasn't for an ECW show in this era. This actually was a pretty solid show, but I guess just like overall thoughts before we dig into it.
Overall thoughts, it might just be because of how Peacock was, but like the weird just cuts of everything was
Yeah.
a choice. But I was like, I mean, it was so I was 12 days old when this came out.
Oh, fun. So you didn't catch it live, or did you? Maybe you did.
No, actually, I don't think I did.
Oh,
But I
damn,
was like,
busy.
96. And I looked. I was like, wow, I was 12 days old.
Wow. Was this maybe the first like big wrestling show of your life? Like within your lifespan, maybe?
Had to have been.
I mean, maybe this show's named after you because like the doctor is in. They're like, well, the doctor was in delivering Catherine. Maybe we should.
How dare you?
It.
On the opposite side of the state, a baby was being delivered. Let's
But
name
it's
the show
in
after
the
her.
same. Everything in Pennsylvania is the same.
It's not.
It's like basically one neighborhood, I think.
No, you're either Pittsburgh, you're Pennsylvania, or you're Amish country in the middle.
Yeah, what the hell is in the middle of Pennsylvania?
I don't know. Harrisburg, the capital.
Harris. Oh, I guess Amish. Okay.
The Amish and the capital.
Shout out the Amish, I guess. I mean, they're probably not listening to this, but
unless
they're like right outside my window listening, they're not going to be listening to this. Which they tend to do that sometimes. But yeah, Doctor is in.
Yes.
He's fine. But the good show. Pretty like, I mean, for somebody who's been watching all these shows, there is a lot more like wrestling on this show than there typically is from ECW.
Okay.
Which I don't know because I'm assuming is this the first ECW show you've ever watched?
Like that version of ECW, maybe because like when it was like WWE's ECW, I did catch it.
Well, that's not even
enough.
Yeah,
it's not even real. But like,
right.
I want to say it might be.
Yeah, I mean but coming into it cold. I mean, there's storylines going on, but I feel like at least Joey Styles tries to do a solid job at like giving you the context on things.
Him.
Shout out.
Whole show basically by himself. Well done, sir. Well done.
Yeah, no, totally by himself. No, he's a great commentator, especially in this time period. He's by far the best. I mean, it's either him or Vince McMahon's stupid ass on commentary, or Bischoff, or
yeah, Joey Styles.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say. But but the first shot, so you fire this bad boy up, and the first shot, this kind of goes to what you were saying, with like the weird how everything cut together, and it did open up on Peacock with like. It was like, what, this is presented in the most original form or whatever the hell. So there were certain things cut out. And I do have like a link from like a sketchy Chinese YouTube site that has like some of these shows like in their original form with like the original music and stuff like that. I pulled it up, but like the video is just so shit. Like it wasn't even worth it. Yeah. But it did start out. So on Peacock, you start it and it's just Sandman in the ring. And there's like a few jobbers on the floor who... Like all these shows always start with Sandman coming out and just hitting a bunch of no names with his Singapore cane, and it always gets the crowd hot. And so you kind of jump into the aftermath of this. But Sandman, he's a hell of a man, isn't he?
The hell of a man made of sand.
Sandy Man, yeah.
Sandy Man.
So Sandman is in the midst of a feud with Raven. You might be asking, why are they feuding? Well. Raven has adopted his son, but not adopted. What's a forceful adoption? Is there a word for that?
I feel like it's just kidnapping.
Kidnapped, I guess. Yeah, maybe psychological kidnapped.
Stockholm syndrome, perhaps.
Sure. Yeah. So Sandman's son, Tyler, is with Raven, and so is Sandman's ex-wife. What's her name? Who cares? Like Laura or Lori or something. But they're all in the leather jackets, and they all have the Kurt Cobain hair or whatever the hell. And
Yep.
Sandman doesn't like that because who would, you know?
Yeah, who would?
Be pretty bummed out if a child of mine would join a cult of somebody else that I hated, right? Am I crazy?
Yeah, well, I feel like I would just be mad at my kid joining a cult, period. But, you know.
So when you see this, are you regretting agreeing to watch the show or not?
I was more so just like confused. Because you made me watch WCW bullshit.
That was a rough one. Which is
still to this day the only thing I have watched in WCW. Thank you, by the way.
That's truly unfortunate.
I just don't care enough to go back. But I was a little taken aback, but I did a little Googling to because some of the names weren't popping up, and I was like, who the fuck is in this match? For like some of the people. So I was like, I had it up in case. Because, you know, I take notes, I do my due diligence here.
Look at you.
I'm a nice guy, what can I say? But yeah, this was definitely not what I was expecting. And then people just in kiss makeup. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that was... So I was also confused at that. I didn't understand... I mean, I understood it was Kiss, but I didn't know if it was like a... Are they on tour? Or is there like something... I don't know. But
why is the blue meanie there?
Yeah, so the blue meanie, so all of the... I guess we'll touch on that later, but Stevie Richards and etc. are all there, dressed in Kiss makeup. But before that, we got some Devon Storm action. Dangerous Devon Storm taking on Mikey Whipwreck. Of course, Devon Storm is accompanied by Damian Kane and Lady Alexandra. Is Alexandra or Alexander? I feel like it would be Alexandra, but it sounded like they were saying Alexander.
I definitely kept hearing Alexander, and I was like, I mean, that's a choice, but like, okay.
I think it's Alexandra. Sure. At least Cage Match says it's Alexandra, so I'm going to go with them.
Oh, well, if Cage Match says, then...
They wouldn't lie to me, so...
No, they wouldn't ever.
She doesn't look well, Lady Alexandra. She looks kidnapped as well. The look in her eyes...
She might listen. There's a lot of Stockholm syndrome happening in ECW apparently in '96.
Is that what the doctor is there for, to fix that? Huh?
They never specified what doctor.
Well, I think it was pretty. God, we'll get to that, but
we're not there yet.
It was not Britt Baker. It was not Isaac Yankem. I'll just say that.
No, should have been.
Should have been. But yeah, so Devon Storm, Damian Kane, wherever the hell, he has a lot of leather. He's out there. He's talking. What did he say? He wants to be called the Godfather of ECW. It's a bunch of bullshit. I don't really care.
Yeah.
But hey, Mikey Whipwreck is apparently the new European Junior Heavyweight Champion. So,
congratulations. I guess.
How vast is your knowledge on the European Wrestling Association?
I think I missed that day in school. I don't.
Did you? Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think I was sick. Yeah.
It's unfortunate. Well, apparently it was a promotion that only lasted like 4 years, and yeah, I've never heard of it until now. He comes out with this European title. Like, ooh, that's a new title in ECW I've never seen before. But yeah, so we'll bring you back on for a EWA retrospective, I think, next time, if there's any footage online. But this first match, I mean, it's it's a couple slight fellas going at it here, a couple grapples here. I thought the crowd was pretty into it. The crowd seems to love Mikey Whipwreck here at this point. They wanted him to kick his ass, as per the "kick his ass, Mikey, kick his ass" chant.
Of course, what other chant you gonna have?
Yeah. Any thoughts in particular about this opener?
I'm 99.9% sure Mikey definitely straight up fully tapped at one point.
Yes.
Man's hit the mat. Like, usually, like, if someone's in a submission, they, like, hit the mat once or twice to be like, I'm in pain. No, straight up 3 times, like, that's a tap, my guy.
So I noticed that as well, and it's interesting because tapping out in pro wrestling wasn't really a thing until, like, later in the 90s, I think. I think it was, like, when Ken Shamrock got there was when it, because UFC, MMA, like, it was a thing, but that hadn't really, like, transcended into pro wrestling, I guess, at this point. Like they were dipping their toes into it, but it wasn't like a full-fledged thing. Like I guess you had to just say, I quit. I guess that's how you submit at this point. But so Mikey got rid of it, or he got away with it at this point. But at some point, Mikey just does an acai moonsault to the outside, but decides to go head first into the concrete, which I thought was a choice.
A choice, a poor decision.
You know, he's the European junior heavyweight champion for a reason, Katie. So
yeah, that's why, because everyone else broke their neck doing the same thing.
Oh, and he's the only one whose neck is able to survive that, is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly what I'm saying. No, it's this match was a fucking mess. I get it, it's ECW, but the amount of just like blatant interference in front of the ref is astronomical.
Well, there was a point. I'm glad you said that, because there was a point where Devon Storm, which by the way is Crowbar, if you're familiar with Crowbar.
No.
I'm not a big Crowbar gal.
I've definitely heard that name on the show before.
Probably talking about Devon Storm.
Okay.
He's a WCW fame mainly, I believe. He's still wrestling out there, I think. Give Crowbar a look ski if you want. Yeah, you have some time on your hands.
Man.
What was this? Oh yeah, there's a spot where Devon Storm, he like set up Mikey in between the top and middle rope to like set him there and then distract the ref and then allow Damian Kane to attack Mikey as the ref was distracted. But there was like a mistiming. So like the ref was still like looking and nobody knew what was going on. So yeah, that was like representative of this entire match pretty much.
It was multiple times where he was just beating the shit out of Mikey Whipwreck, and the blatant interference. The guys, you looked him dead in the eyes.
Yeah. It's a very gray area at this point as far as what's like, are we extreme or are we
do we know what rules are? Do we enforce anything?
It's very gender fluid, these rules, ACW. But so Devon Storm ultimately he hits Mikey with he sets Mikey on a steel chair on the outside and does a tope over the top rope onto Mikey, who's sitting on this chair, which looked like it hurt every party involved, honestly.
All parties.
It was,
the floor hurt.
Oh yeah, it took a beating. But Lady Alexandra, I'm sure, was emotionally hurt by this. Devon Storm hits a moonsault onto Mikey. Goes for the pin, but Damian Kane on the outside's like, no, one more. I want it to hurt. Or however he talks. And then he goes for another moonsault, but Mikey crotches him. And there's a series of counters and tomfoolery happens. Ultimately, Mikey's able to hit a Franken Mikey, which is a flying hurricane of sorts, for the win. So Mikey Whipwreck gets the win in this very esteemed contest. So good stuff, right?
Yeah. Still that European junior heavyweight champion and some made up promotion.
Would you classify this match as like a cruiserweight match? Yeah.
I could say it's cruiserweight.
I only asked that because Joey Styles before the match was like, yeah, this pro wrestling business is becoming all about the cruiserweights, because like WCW is because they just established that championship there, and Joey Styles mentioned New Japan and AAA. They have their juniors titles. So I did
hear those mentioned. So yeah, I guess so.
So basically what I'm saying is Mikey Whipwreck and Dangerous Devon Storm are here to compete with Rey Mysterio and Psychosis. So
if
you had to pick one, Rey Mysterio, Dangerous Devon Storm, who's better? Let's settle it.
I don't know. I mean, this is a hard one. I mean, I've never heard of Devon Storm until the day I watched this. I've known Rey Mysterio for like 20 years. Like, personally, we're homies.
You'll never forget Devon Storm, though, after this, right?
Yeah.
Or you might forget him as soon as we stop recording.
Oh, yeah. I'll be like, who the fuck's this guy? I have notes. I have no idea what it looks like. No, it's Rey Mysterio, hands down.
I guess that's a hot take. It's a hot take, but
I know, and so I'm gonna apologize in advance for the hot takes.
yeah. Let's take it easy there. But boy, howdy. Speaking of hot takes, we got a hot tamale on our hands here with Louis Spicolli versus Johnny Smith. Couple wrestlers out here just wrestling. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
Singlets.
This, not what I was expecting from an ECW show. That's for damn sure.
Let me tell you this, it's not what I was expecting either. And I've been watching all this stuff. This kind of came out of nowhere. It's like I said, like I was like all these ECW shows, like at least like in this time period, have just been like trash cans and kendo sticks and fighting in the crowd and blood and whatever the hell. And we're getting even that opening match, it was like whatever, but it was like a wrestling match for the most part. And here we just got a couple guys in boots and singlets just slamming, suplexing and spine bustering. It's like, this is not the ECW I know. But
this is not my ECW.
For what it was, I mean, it was a quick little match. It's fine. You know, Louis Spicolli, who was you may know him as Rad Radford, right?
Yeah, how'd you know? Big
Rad Radford gal. Yeah.
Big Rad Radford guy over here.
That's what they all say about you. Louis Spicolli, little fun fact ski. I don't know if he invented the move, but he at least popularized the Death Valley Driver.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he hit it in this match unless I missed it. But so that's his thing. And then Johnny Smith, he's a European gent, from what I understand. Very British Bulldog-esque in his physique. And it was a fun little scuffle, I thought this was. What'd you think about it?
Yeah, fun little scuffle, I think, is a perfect way to describe it. Again, when I was having everything up because names and I needed to know things.
Right.
This was apparently Johnny Smith's first time in ECW.
That's correct.
The crowd loved him. Oh, Louis Spicolli, what a fucking name that guy has.
It's a badass name.
Louis Spicolli.
You don't think
maybe it's the Don's like great grandfather?
Ooh, I can get into that.
I might have added too many greats because this is only 96, but regardless.
No, that's the Spicolli name could make a resurgence, I'm sure.
I hope someone is listening in the ether and they make that happen.
Maybe did Louis Spicolli have a son of some sort? Maybe he's out there. Jim Spicolli, perhaps. Let's hit it. Let's hear it.
A Jim Spicolli.
Well, Spicolli does not win this one, unfortunately. Johnny Smith wins with a brutal-looking sit-out powerbomb. Gets the Duke in this one, and I don't know if anything comes of. I think Louis Spicolli's done here with ECW. I could be wrong, but Johnny Smith, I've only vaguely heard his name before. I don't know if he does anything of note in ECW, but if the more wrestling, the better, I guess. In ECW, it could use because they're losing
something.
They're losing Chris Jericho after this show. They've already lost Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit and like all like Rey Mysterio, like all the wrestling guys. Now you're just left with a bunch of guys in jorts. So
so many jorts and so many like pajamas.
Love a good pajama pants. But
Mikey Whipwreck literally looked like he was wearing something you could go work out in.
Mikey Whipwreck's attire is just appalling. It makes me angry every time I look at him. Like, invest in some. Get a singlet at least. Get a what does Goldust wear? What do you call that?
Oh, what would that be?
Not a unitard, is it? A jumpsuit?
A bodysuit.
Bodysuit, I think, is what. Did I ever tell you when I was growing up, when I was watching Goldust, I thought he was just naked, painted in gold?
I think we did have this conversation. We did have this conversation when we watched WCW.
Ah, yes.
It's all coming together.
It is.
I wish I could forget that show.
Well, I wish I could forget Axel Rotten because he's in this next match.
Is he though?
I mean, he's present.
He's there.
He is. He does have his boots on, and he's in
the ring.
He swings a chair or two, I think, at some point.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about this.
Well, he's taking on Devon Dudley here. So what is your knowledge of the Dudley family backstory here from ECW?
From what I gathered via Joey Styles, who again, kudos. Well done, sir.
Kudos.
There are many members of the Dudley family that I was unaware of. See, in my time, I knew of Bubba, Devon, and Spike.
Yes.
You know, who can forget Spike? Man
Who
went
could
through
forget him?
Who could? But there's Sign Guy Dudley, who apparently doesn't speak. I wrote them down because Jesus Christ.
He didn't
Who else
speak
was there?
until this show, but continue.
This show, yeah, he spoke his first words. Congratulations. Chubby Dudley, which is just rude. That's just mean.
I mean,
but like stuff. And then the catalyst here, the apparently head honcho, from what I've gathered, Big Dick Dudley.
yes, of course.
And I guess there was some power struggle between Devon and Big Dick Dudley.
Yep.
I don't know what has occurred, but Bubba was in the middle of it, I guess. Overalls and glasses and tie-dye.
That I can't think of a better synopsis of the Dudley family drama than what you just laid out. Because so originally, I believe it started out with pretty much all those people except Devon, and Big Dick was the head guy, the head honcho, as you say. He was controlling everything. He was just the lead. I mean, he doesn't cut promos or everything. He's just big, and he's the leader, I guess. The Dudleys came in as heels, but Bubba was so entertaining with his stuttering stuff and just dancing or whatever the hell that they organically got over and became like kind of a comedy act of sorts. Okay. And Devon shows up, and he is not for the laughing. He sees tomfoolery. He's like, I don't like that, Devon. So Devon is here to basically right the ship of the Dudleys. He says, "Hey, cut the malarkey, fellas." It's not exactly what he says. He uses more colorful language, but he says basically to cut the malarkey and let's start kicking ass again. And Bubba's like, "Hey, you don't tell us what to do." And Devon's like, "No, I run this family." And then Big Dick's like, "No, I do." But every time Big Dick is in the picture, Devon runs because he's a scared little bitch. So
True.
So that's basically where we're at this point. So now we got Devon, Axel Rotten. It's not really a match. They swing some chairs at each other. They have a little sword fight. It's fun. But ultimately, it's fun for somebody. By the way, before anything else, Axel goes into the crowd because Devon has a chair and he doesn't. So Axel goes into the crowd, grabs a chair, but it's a plastic chair. So it's like
a plastic chair and a steel chair fight.
I think a Devon Dudley fan handed him that chair, but
probably.
So Devon eventually hits him with a low blow, hits him with a chair shot of his own, but then Bubba comes in, followed by his other Dudley brethren. Devon's back is turned away from them, and then Sign Guy Dudley, who is my camera fucked up? Is that on your end?
You became green like the Hulk, and
that's probably for the best. Cocksucker. Hold on, it was acting up. I became green like the Hulk. Here, let me.
You did. It was frozen and then green.
All right, I'm gonna try to turn it off. The Dudleys are trying to silence me.
They are. They're listening.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
We're good. All right.
No more Kermit.
Okay, Kermit. That's not as good as the Hulk, but I'll take it.
I'm sorry. I had to think of somebody else. Who
When you think I have frog-like features, is that what you're saying?
You might. I mean, well, Kyle, the thighs.
Do frogs have nice thighs? I think frogs have very skinny legs.
They have powerful legs.
Yeah, but they're scrawny.
Some frogs have thick thighs. Here we go.
Do thick-thighed frog? Is that a band?
What a sentence. I hope it is. It needs to be a band. If not, somebody take it wrong.
Because there's an orange-thighed frog, which I'm Filipino, so that checks out. I guess they're kind of girthy. They're like little chicken legs, I guess, but in proportion to the rest of their body, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I was
anyways,
just trying to help my point.
speaking of thick
Oh,
thighs,
God.
Bubba Dudley has some thick thighs on him, and
Yes,
he's
yes.
here. Sign guy takes his
Yes.
sign that says "Hey Devon," and he rips it in half and yells "Hey Devon" because he's turned away from him. Devon turns around, is met with a chair shot from Bubba Ray Dudley, and there's just a lot of unprotected chair shots to the head, etc. Is pretty much what this segment
The
entails.
amount of CTE in this segment alone, olale, dude. There were so many. I was like, I
Yeah.
kept cringing because, like, I know that there's no way in hell that felt good in any capacity.
Mm.
And, like, not even, like, a little bit of protection. Like, your hand can get fucked up, like, protecting yourself. No, nothing. Just to the dome. 18 plus times, probably, amongst all of them.
I say that's. I mean, they weren't even, like, necessary. Like, Chubby Dudley was just there to get hit in the head with chairs, I think.
He was literally just there to do that.
I mean, there's a stiff, even, like, without the chairs. Bubba and Devon brawl. They're throwing punches. A lot of them seem like they're connecting. I mean, it seems.
Yeah.
No,
This was a time that happened.
It certainly was. You're not wrong about that.
And in my notes, so 3-0s, many unprotected headshots. What the fuck?
Well, when a family is in turmoil, how else do you solve your problems?
You don't not unprotected chair shots. You can throw fists, sure. Bring a table in, break that. Unprotected chair shots to the dome? No.
Well, Dudleyville might have different cultures and customs. So
that's fair. They might. As an outsider, I do not know. I'm not a part of the Dudleyville family in any capacity. But, like, guys, think about it for the long run.
It makes Busted Open make a lot more sense when you see how many chair shots.
It makes a lot of things make a whole hell of a lot more sense.
Oh, well, just a lot of nonsensical chair shots happen, and then Big Dick comes out. We whip out the Big Dick, and he gets in the ring. Him and Devon have a little stare down, as you mentioned. They're kind of fighting for power, fighting for the patriarchy of not patriarchy. I guess the patriarchy of the Dudleyville, the Dudley family. But Devon will not. He has a chair in his hand, but he will not strike Big Dick. He goes to, and then he decides not to, and then he just throws down the chair and skedaddles out of there. So. He's walking out of the ring, and then Bubba Ray Dudley with a plancha over the top rope. What the hell? Just crunches Devon against the barricade. Could not have landed worse.
No,
but I guess if you're out there to hurt a fella, that's probably the way to do it.
I guess so.
And Axel Rotten's also there. Thoughts?
Axel Rotten's just like, guys, I didn't sign up for this. I just wanted to have a match, and the chairs got involved immediately, so I ran. Rightfully so, I would have done the same thing. Thoughts. Wow. Again, CTE.
Yeah.
Definitely apparent.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. I think Axel, maybe his shirt was a little too tie-dye adjacent. So I think he kind of got roped into it. Well, Tyler is Sandman's son, and he's involved in this next little ditty here. We got the ECW heavyweight titles on the line. Well, Raven is the champion, but he has a foot injury. I know at one point he had gout. I don't know if it's still gout, but he has some foot injury as per the cast on his foot. So to set the scene here, so Raven and his flock come out. Like I said, Raven has a cast. He's on crutches. We got Blue Meanie, Stevie Richards, Nova, and some other guy I'm not familiar with. All dressed up as Kiss. Maybe they just got another guy to be the fourth Kiss guy. I don't know. You got Lori is her name. Lori and Tyler, is Sandman's ex-family, I guess at this point. With the leather jackets, they're all in the cult. Sandman, I guess, got attacked earlier. I mean, they kind of like showed it quickly, but not like the extent of it. I guess they attacked Sandman's eye, and now he's blind. Thoughts?
As someone who is a quarter blind in one eye, rude.
A quarter blind, she says.
Yeah, that one right there, my right eye. It's really fun for me.
Did you see that?
Can I say?
Did you see that?
I can fucking see you.
Oh. You forgot about the 75%.
Yeah, come on now. Math.
Well, man, where do we even begin here? So, Raven, the champion, he says he can't defend his title tonight because of his foot. Stevie gets in there. He's like, hey, fella, I'll defend it for you. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He said he already signed the contract to defend it, which I feel like you would probably run that by Raven. Well, I don't know.
I feel like you should have.
Maybe throw it out there, see what he thinks, but took initiative. This Stevie Richards did, and now he's defending the title for Raven against Sandman coming up. But they're all like, oh, he's blind. He's not going to be able to compete, whatever. But then Sandman sprints out there, blood all over his white shirt, all over his white pajamas. Got a bandage over his eye. He's bleeding. He has a cane. Raven pulls his son in front of him. Sandman can't hit his son with a cane, which is his choice, I guess. And Stevie from behind with a kick, and then we're off to the races. But what did you make of this exhibition here?
Oh, first and foremost, Stevie Richards, shortest shorts in the game. Proud of you. Love that.
Love the original Hoochie Daddy, Stevie Richards.
Honestly, the original Hoochie Daddy. When you put this episode up, I want that as part of the notes. Thank you. No, I like forget that Stevie Richards has done like a lot. So seeing him in this iteration is just like, whoa, weird. Because like I've seen like bits and pieces of him, but like not in fucking Kiss makeup and Hoochie Daddies and literally like nothing else. I wasn't complaining.
I mean, he's
Sandman in his pajamas. He's got to even out.
You were complaining
no skin
about that.
versus too much skin.
Right.
There was a lot going on. Yeah, there was just my question. Kyle.
Please.
Just like Stevie Richards.
Yeah.
This guy signs said contract. It's his match. For Raven's title. Defending it in his honor. As a good cult member would do for their cult leader.
Respect it.
Which apparently was not the first time this has happened.
That's correct.
Stevie
yes.
apparently did it another time at insert whatever fucking
Heat Wave 1996.
Yeah, that one. I knew it was summer. Because, August. So why does Raven come in at the end and make the pin and that count? Please.
Catherine. A lot of questions do not have answers, and this is one of them. I had the same thought. It's like, I mean, because like you said, Raven ends up getting the pin, but if that's the case, could Sandman not have pinned Raven to win the title?
I mean, he almost pinned Stevie quite a few times.
Yeah, I mean, Stevie got his ass kicked by his own partners because the fucking the Three Stooges bullshit in this match is hilarious. So,
it was a time. I loved it.
I mean, there's just a lot of whatever. They fight on the outside. There's blood. There's canes. There's low blows. Stevie has the advantage after another low blow. Sets Sandman up in the ring for Blue Meanie to go to the top rope to hit his meanie salt. Throws it out there, beautiful moonsault, but he misses. And I'm sorry, no. Sandman, as Meanie's up on the top rope with his back facing him, Sandman attacks Stevie and puts Stevie where Sandman just was. So Meanie mean salts onto Sandman or onto Stevie.
A lot of names.
Unbeknownst, it's a lot to keep track of. So Meanie hits Stevie by accident, and Sandman tries to get the pin after that, but it's a 2 count. And then at some point, Sandman like eye rakes Blue Meanie, and Blue Meanie's blind, like reaching his hands out and finds a body, grabs that body and does a tiger powerbomb. But wouldn't you know it, it's Stevie Richards because he's blind for the second, I guess.
Wow.
And then Nova, who, are you familiar with Simon Dean at all?
No fucking way.
Yeah, that's this fella. That's him.
Oh my god.
This is before the Simon system really got to him, you know.
Fuck the Simon system, by the way.
Does not work. But
No.
Nova comes off the top rope with a leg drop, but misses Sandman and hits Stevie somehow.
To shocker.
And again, but Stevie keeps kicking out of these moves, so shout out Stevie Richards, I guess.
Yeah.
And then Raven gets in, foot in his cast and all. He gets in there to do something, but then Missy Hyatt gets in there, who is I don't know, an estranged lover of Raven of sorts, I guess is how I could put it.
Okay.
Missy, I mean, she was a manager in WCW, and she's been in and out of ECW, but
Okay.
so Missy Hyatt gets in to stop Raven in his attack on Sandman, but then Sandman's ex-wife gets in there, loads up Raven's boot, which
Can we talk about that?
please, yeah.
What in the fuck? What does that do?
You gotta load the boot, Katie.
You're just hitting the boot. The boot. I don't know why we're saying it like that.
What's that all
The
boot?
boot. We're Canadians now.
Exactly.
I don't know why you have to like hit it off of stuff, and that's considered like. I might not be familiar with the lore and the terminologies and things, but what the fuck does that do?
So I'm loosely familiar with the lore. Not
Please inform me, sir.
So I think the premise is like you would have a boot on, right? As you do usually with a boot, it's on your foot.
Yeah.
I guess the premise is that there's like a piece of metal or something in your boot, but it only like gets into place when you like kick it. Like I guess it's like in your heel, and then you kick the mat, and then it like shifts to your toe, and then you kick somebody and it knocks them out.
So
Very
is it the equivalent of John Cena used to pump up his sneakers before hitting the FU? Is that the equivalent?
So are you suggesting that the pumping up of the sneakers like gave him some sort of superpowers? I mean, maybe.
I mean, Super Cena, am I right, ladies?
Is that why he's currently on a losing streak, because he no longer pumps up his shoes?
He hasn't popped up the sneakers in so long, and like as a Cena guy growing up, I was just like, he's pumping him up, F you, let's go! Like, it was fucking dope. No, it's because he's a bald spot now and he's not pumping up the sneakers.
That's very rude.
Hey, people made fun of that bald spot for the longest time, and I defended him.
Yeah.
But now he's back to Hollywood, so I'm pissed. So I'm going to be upset about it.
Should probably pump up those hair follicles. Am I right or am I wrong? You know?
Am I right, guys?
Is that pump it, right? There's a pump for that, probably. Matt would know. He knows all about pumps. But speaking of pumps, where were we?
Yeah, loading up the boot.
Loading the boot, yes.
Yeah.
So Lori, who is Sandman's ex-wife, loads up Raven's boot and she does hit Missy Hyatt with this loaded boot. Raven grabs the boot, I guess reloads it. I guess you gotta reload this boot.
I guess so.
Hits it against the corner pad again. Goes to swing it at Sandman, but Sandman reverses, hits him with a DDT. He gets up, but Raven pulls Tyler, Sandman's son, in front of him again. So Sandman's once again conflicted, and then Stevie's able to hit the loaded boot shot onto Sandman from behind. And then Raven makes the cover, who was not a participant in this match as per the contract. I mean, what are we even? Who's doing the paperwork? You know what I'm saying?
The tomfoolery, the shenanigans, the audacity, if you will.
I will. So I guess Raven wins, even though he wasn't in the match. But it's ECW, so there's no rules. But there's also rules.
There's no rules, but occasionally a rule or two.
Yeah. But shenanigans aside, I thought it was I guess I was entertained. I guess I was sports entertained by this.
I can say I was sports entertained. You know, again, we had some Three Stooges bullshit happen. Kiss makeup, shorts, loading up a boot, which still doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but like kind of makes more sense now that I know that. Yeah. Sports entertained. Simon Dean was there, apparently, now that I know.
How could you lose with Simon Dean in your corner, you know?
I mean, well, the Simon system is a choice.
Do you think Stevie was on the Simon system?
Oh, he was probably the first participant.
No, he was the guinea pig.
Stevie Richards was the guinea pig for the Simon system.
Well known.
Yeah.
Well, we got system of there's no segue here. We got two Cold Scorpio versus your boy Chris Jericho. The Demo God is here. And fun fact, his last ever ECW match is this one. He wasn't there long, but he made an Impact, I suppose.
No, different promotion.
Damn it, I always get those confused. He made a
TNA.
Yeah, the TNA was in the last match. Katie.
I'm so sorry.
Tits and ass. Two Cold Scorpio, Chris Jericho. So at the last show, there was a 4-way for the TV title. 2 of those gents are in the next match, but the other 2 are in this match. So that's really all the backstory there is. Honestly, this is kind of like a wrestling match. There's not a ton of story behind it. Anything in particular stick out to you?
Remembering that Chris Jericho was actually like good at a point in time.
Right, it's crazy, right?
I know. So weird. Like late 90s, early 2000s Chris Jericho was kind of goated.
Lionheart.
No pun intended. Yeah.
Lionheart,
Chris Jericho. I've only seen like a few matches of Two Cold Scorpio, and my God, what a wrestler!
What a man!
What a man! You know, dancing his way to the ring, pop off, sir, as you should.
Yes.
I mean, go for it. Why not? I liked it. I was very much entertained. Not even sports entertained.
Just raw dog entertained.
Raw dog entertained.
I like it. Hey, what do you think's colder? Too Cold or Stone Cold?
Stone Cold.
I guess. I mean,
Too Cold is just like it's a little too cold outside, but like Stone Cold.
Right, because like ice cream can be too cold, but it's still like liquidy-ish.
Yeah.
Jelly, maybe, perhaps. But Stone Cold is a stone, as per,
like too cold, I think of like, the weather outside. It's a little too cold out here. Stone Cold, I think of like the fucking icebergs that are currently melting. And, like.
Well, that's really what we wanted to talk about here. Now that we got your attention. Global warming.
Fucking come real, here. Guys. You said, come here. But no, I would say, back to the point, Stone Cold is colder than Too Cold.
We're glad we finally settled that. But Stone Cold's not here, but Too Cold is. And no, I agree. I thought it was a good match. It was kind of it was very back and forth. It wasn't really particularly it's kind of like you do a few moves and then I'll do a few moves, but for what it was entertaining. Like I said, Chris Jericho debuts in WCW literally like the following week. So this is his
crazy.
His out here, and the fans know it, by God, because I guess they're on the I guess they're not on Twitter, they're on what? They're just in a AOL chat room. Yeah. But yeah, so there's like a "you sold out" chant at Jericho, but it's like kind of 50-50 in like support or whatever.
Okay.
But like Jericho was only there for a few months, so it's like whatever. Just be happy that you got him, I guess.
Did he really sell out if he was only there for like a few months though?
Yeah, I mean, what is he gonna?
Did he hold a title in ECW?
He did.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, that changes
TV
things.
champ.
Maybe he did sell out then.
Yeah, fuck him, right? I agree.
Fuck that guy.
There's some good submissions. There's some very interesting, like, I don't even know what you would call it. They were like tying each other up and like underhook.
Like
yeah, they were like trying to do pedigrees upside down, kind of is what was happening. They do that. I always associate this to Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero, where they do like the monkey flip, but they like flip over each other with their wrists together, and then they're like throwing each other up with their feet. You know what I'm saying, right?
I do. I love the monkey flip in that aspect.
Big monkey flip gal.
Big monkey flip guy. Yeah.
So there's a random Bischoff sucks chant, which sure.
I mean, okay.
I support it.
It's true.
I mean, these guys are going all out though. There's some pretty stiff kicks from both guys. Jericho throws out a missile drop kick from the top rope to the concrete floor. Which is a choice.
A choice, but like not the dumbest one that was made tonight.
Not even top 10.
No.
Power bombs by both guys. They're kind of just going back and forth. Ultimately, Scorpio goes for a moonsault, but it misses. Jericho does a top rope power slam for a 2 count, which looked pretty nice. And then Scorpio hits a tombstone pile driver, and then the most terrifying looking shooting star press I've ever seen in my life, but gets the win. So all's well that ends well, I guess.
All that matters is that he won, right?
Look, I'm not going to sit here and say like I'm the aficionado on the shooting star press, but I would venture a guess and say maybe the first priority is to go up and then to go out. But Scorpio is like, maybe I'll just go out.
Maybe I'll just go that way and we'll see what happens.
A line drive of a shooting star. I don't remember him ever doing this move. Maybe this is why. Like he would always do like the 450 or a moonsault, but
it's like when Brock did the shooting star press and broke his fucking neck.
Right.
Did he do it after that, folks? Not to my knowledge.
Not yet. Maybe he's busting that out for a later match.
Pulls up to WrestleMania 40, just not no match in any way capacity, just hits a shooting star press with his big ass cowboy body. Holy shit, I'd be scared.
He probably could. I bet you if he wanted to, he could.
Definitely could.
Do you think Shane Douglas could?
Shane Douglas is a little bitch.
He is a bit. He is a bit of a silly goose, I would think. I was trying to think of a PG word for bitch. That was my. He's a little bit of
a silly little goose.
A rabble rouser, perhaps. I don't know.
Oh, good words.
Thanks. They're gonna come back. The TV title is on the line. We got Shane Douglas, the champion, accompanied by Francine, versus Pitbull number 2, accompanied by Pitbull number 1. So Pitbull number 1, do you think when you saw him, were you like, this guy might be injured?
I mean, he did look like Regina George when she got hit by a bus.
That's who I was trying to think who I watched Mean Girls like semi recently. Well, it was with you, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I have to make a Mean Girl reference because Kyle will understand.
Yes, I do. I didn't realize what do you call it, like a neck clamp?
I don't know what that's considered because like you have the metal part around your head, and then you got bars coming down, and then you have like a whole ass like chest plate thing.
Yeah,
I don't know what that quite literally is called.
Yeah, because it's like a vest. Yeah, like you said, it's attached to bars, I guess, because he broke his neck. Pitbull number 1, and the whole time I was watching this match, I was like, "Is this a work? Like, is he gonna like?"
Okay, I'm glad we're on the same page here because I was like, "Is he like legitimately injured?"
Because it seemed very cartoony, like this whole getup, but I guess it was real.
So like Pitbull number 1 like actually broke his neck. Like this is factual.
Yeah, so it was at the last show, which I didn't even realize it at the time, and I actually went back and watched it. And it didn't really seem like anything bad, but he just took a DDT wrong, basically, from Shane
Oh
Douglas,
shit!
and broke his neck. And they said here that he also fractured his skull. I don't know if that's also true, but
Holy
he
shit!
says that he's lost feeling in his left arm. And I know eventually he comes back. I think he kind of takes a step back from wrestling as more of like a manager, but I'm pretty sure he wrestles again after this.
What, I mean, he was saying like he wasn't even sure if he was gonna like. Doctors were like, "I'm not allowed to wrestle again," but we've seen this so
Yeah.
many times nowadays. This set the precedent. Pitbull #1 started it all.
So you're saying Edge, Page, Bryan Danielson, they're all just playing out of the Pitbull #1 playbook.
I mean, you said the words, not me.
That's how you recover. You just put on dog chains and a leash and
That's what Braun Breaker's gonna do next.
yeah. He's the new Pitbull, Braun Breaker. What was that?
What?
Well, so Pitbull #1, he's broken, I guess. But Pitbull #2 is here to fight for his honor, to get his revenge, to avenge his Pitbull brother by beating Shane Douglas and attempting to take his TV title. Attempting. The crowd is super into this, it seems like. They're chanting, break his neck. Everybody wants Shane to get his neck broken. Everybody's super into
fair.
Pitbull. I mean, if there's any way to get sympathy, it's a guy that's almost paralyzed in the middle of the ring wearing a Regina George neck clamp. So
neck clamp, yes.
But yeah. So, but the match had Pitbull #2 versus Shane Douglas. Pitbull's doing a lot of neck-based moves to, I guess, try to break his neck. Just like a reverse tombstone, which is something.
Was something, yeah.
At one point, he just grabs his head in a guillotine and just tries to rip his head off. It seems like
Very Mortal Kombat-esque.
right.
Just
but then he grabs a pie from a fan and then smashes Shane Douglas in the face.
Which, hold the fucking phone. Who's letting this fan bring a whole ass pie in?
You know, I think somebody brought this up before. It might have been Matt. What is the vetting process for these ECW shows? You know,
there is none.
Look, people have brought printers to the show for weapons. They bring in like plastic toy dinosaurs. They bring pies. They bring, I don't know what. I guess you can't bring like a bomb, maybe not a gun.
I would hope not.
But I guess
nothing like that.
I guess everything else is fair game.
A whole ass pie. If someone had a fake leg, that probably would have been used.
I think no, that was WWF did that.
Yeah, like
ECW probably did that at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it all, but like the pie definitely like caught me by surprise. I was like, where did this? How did we get here?
Do you think it was the concession stand? Do you think they sell pies?
Selling whole ass pies?
What else do you eat at a wrestling show?
Popcorn, chicken tenders, nachos,
lemon
maybe
heads.
Lemon heads.
My dad's boat.
You know.
The ECW arena. The ECW arena. I mean, you see this establishment. This definitely seems like a place that would have freshly baked pies in the back. I think.
No, the fuck it would not.
Well, yes, that's how you see it, I guess.
That is how I see it.
Maybe you're just jealous of the Philly pies. Yeah, it's a Pittsburgh thing. I get it. You guys have no pies over there. That's what I hear.
Excuse you.
No pie having asses.
Ridiculous.
So there's pies. There's blood. There's a lot of blood. My goodness. Pitbull is he is bleeding from his body a lot. And his face is just, like when blood has blood on it, You know what I mean? Like Eddie Guerrero bleeding is like a certain thing, like, or
Yes.
like John Cena that one time. It's like, you have blood on your face, but there's blood on top of the blood that's on your face. Like that is what Pitbull looks
It's
like.
layered.
It is jelly. I mean, it
It is gelatin layered blood.
viscous, some may say.
Ugh.
It is getting all over the place. Because at first I was very concerned because Shane Douglas, like even like before the blood came into play, Shane Douglas's back is filthy just from the floor.
True.
He is a completely different color than what he came in as.
Yeah.
And then you had the blood. So he's just covered in blood and dirt and whatever the hell else is on this godforsaken floor.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Lots of infections, I'm sure, happening here. But
At least.
Pitbull, I mean, I thought this was a pretty intense match. I thought the drama towards the end was fun. I don't know. What did you any thoughts on this one?
One big question I do have for you, Bremer.
Tweet.
Who the fuck was that weird looking announcer man?
Joel
Shane Douglas?
Gertner?
Who the fuck is that?
The stud muffin. The here's another name. He becomes a pretty big character later in ECW. This is like his origin story of sorts.
His villain origins. Got it.
Right. Yeah, because at first he was just an announcer, and now for whatever reason he's a dickhead. I guess Shane Douglas has gotten to him. I don't know if he's paying him or what, or if he just likes the cut of Francine's jib. Which I can't blame him.
Freezing. I mean, listen, Francine's hot. Let's just call a spade a spade.
Well,
but yeah, he was. I didn't like him, so he was kind of weird.
Yeah, he was really giving it to him. He was really making fun of. He was really making light of Pitbull number one in his ailments.
Yeah, like don't yell at Regina George like that. Like she's doing her best over there. I mean, could you and would you call this a blood feud, if you will?
I would say this is as blood feud as it gets. If it wasn't coming into it, it was going out. So,
I mean, you gotta get the layers, like the layers of blood. Pitbull number one, neck broken, snapped by Shane Douglas, who's a little pussy, as we have established.
Oh, okay.
I mean, let's call it a spade.
You got some heat with Shane Douglas, I guess, man. Franchise.
I'm just with the franchise, my ass. I'm just saying what I see. Again, this is like randomly knowledge of anything.
No, you're not wrong.
Yeah. It's just, layers and blood for blood, pound for pound, tried to break his neck, didn't let him, which is just Shane. Just let him break your neck. I mean, it's only fair.
Be a gentleman. Let him snap your neck in two.
This is a sport of honor, sir. Not Ring of Honor. That's a different promotion.
Well, it's the same umbrella, I think it is, but that's a whole other podcast.
What we'll do next time.
Well, perhaps. So, a lot of this is Shane, like after Pitbull is trying to break his neck, Shane Douglas, or Pitbull initially gets busted open when he comes off the top rope and hits the guardrail. And then at this point, Shane Douglas is just beating on him. Like Pitbull is literally losing blood to the point where he's just falling over. He'll like try to do his military press, but he can't get him up. And ultimately, Shane Douglas is able to take advantage when Pitbull goes for his super bomb off the top rope, but he's too weak to hoist him up. So Douglas hits him with a belly to belly, but Pitbull has some fighting spirit and gets up. But then Douglas hits him with another belly to belly for the win and retains his TV title.
Yep.
Very dirty, very bloody, and
very much so.
Joel Gertner announces Shane Douglas as the winner as he's standing on Pitbull number 2, which I think is a bit rude.
Fucking like who are you, sir?
Well, maybe he didn't see him.
Bullshit.
Well, he has to be in the middle of the ring to announce it. It's not his fault then. Pitbull number 2 might just be a bloody pulp in the middle of the ring on his X, you know?
I mean, I guess so. Sure.
Yeah. Well,
that's fair.
Joel Gertner does receive a super bomb As does the ref for whatever reason. The ref gets his ass kicked for no reason, it seems like.
That scrawny little fucking ref who I could probably beat up. Like, kid was maybe 60 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah. Pee-wee, I think was his
like,
name.
Yeah. Who let him in? Who let him in the building? He's probably someone's son. They're like, all right, just go, put on a shirt. You kind of know what you're doing. Yeah, no. He did get his ass beat. Rightfully so. Because there was a lot of interference. Pee-wee wasn't catching it. So, Pitbull was pissed.
As he should be.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Ruh-roh.
Well, dogs.
Go ahead.
Wait, hold on.
You got
dogs. There's dog in here. Is there a dog in here? Dog-faced gremlin is Rick Steiner. Rick Steiner was an amateur wrestler. Steve Williams was also an amateur wrestler. And he's in this next match. As per the title, the Doctor is in. Dr. Death, Steve Williams, teaming with Tommy Dreamer, taking on the team of Tazz and Primetime Brian Lee. Huge pop for Dr. Death. This crowd seems to be...
That man is fucking massive. Holy shit.
Thick boy.
Like 8 C's thick. Man's is like ginormous and just like this. Just this guy.
He's, yeah. I was like, is that Dr. Death?
Picture like a lot more like muscle mass and yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but
is
like
that
just,
what it is?
Yeah, that guy.
He has the body of a guy that works out a lot, but also loves chicken tenders, you know?
I mean, don't we all?
Yes.
Chicken tenders.
Dr. Death is here. This is before his WWF run, so he's just mainly known for his amateur wrestling and I believe some Japan stuff. I think he's done a good amount in Japan, but he's apparently, I mean, the crowd popped for him huge, so they were very familiar with him. And Tommy Dreamer, of course, cult favorite in ECW at this point. Tazz is really getting built up at this point as a monster, and Brian Lee is also here. So but I don't know if you knew this, but that is the fake Undertaker.
I did not know that.
Yeah, the Undertaker when
this
he faced
is why
the
I come on
Undertaker.
the show.
He was Gray Undertaker, Brian Lee. But this is, I mean, it quickly breaks down. It feels like the people want to see Dr. Death versus Tazz because they're both like legit fighters and wrestlers, and eventually they do. They have a little sequence at some point, but not until Tazz hits Tommy Dreamer with a T-bone suplex off a stage through a table, which looked pretty gnarly, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. What'd you make of this one?
I mean, we get to talk about your favorite thing in the whole world. Tazz and his package.
His package is
I have to keep the tradition alive.
You do.
In honor of Matt. You're welcome, Matt.
I don't know where he keeps it.
It's not there.
I mean, does he tape it? Does he
He might tuck. I mean, pop off if you do.
You can't. Well, you shouldn't be able to tuck balls unless they're very small.
You have apparently never seen a drag queen do her thing.
You know, I've never taken a gander at a drag queen's balls. You are correct about that.
Well, I mean, if you watch like RuPaul's Drag Race, they're very scantily dressed, and you could see it's Ken like on the bottom part.
Right.
So
can't say I'm a little behind. I'm a little behind on RuPaul's Drag Race.
Hell of a show. Highly recommend.
Well, yeah, I'll take a look. Yeah, right after the European Wrestling Alliance binge that I go on.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, you have to do that first. We talk about that first. Kind of chronological
storytelling.
Storytelling. Listen. Let's talk about the elephant in the room here. That fucking whistle.
Do you not like the whistle?
No. What the fuck was his name?
Bill Alfonso.
Yeah, that fucking guy. I was ready to shove that whistle down his throat, out his ass, and then back up his ass out his throat.
Do you think it would whistle if it came out of his ass?
I hope so.
Yeah.
No, that was I was like trying to enjoy it because, like, you know, it was a fun little ditty we were having here. But I just every few seconds, just that fucking whistle, and I was like twitching. I was like, "This is ridiculous." I get it.
Pretty rough.
Team Tazz, woohoo! The original Team Tazz, not
Yes.
Hookhausen.
No. It's very different.
different things. But besides that, Tommy Dreamer goes through a fucking table.
Yeah, they set up 3 tables for him to go through, but I think that was just because maybe he didn't know how to aim a T-bone suplex off of a stage. So you get a lot of surface area you can land on. So
Yeah. I mean, it's all you can do, really.
because safety, you know, that's what we care about in Extreme Championship Wrestling.
Yeah, safety. You know, table, fucking concrete underneath.
Whatever. But Beulah, I don't think Beulah, who is of course with Tommy Dreamer, I don't think she liked the whistle either because she came into the ring and gave Alfonso a low blow. I feel like every match has had a low blow at this point.
Almost.
And so Beulah and Alfonso brawl, which is a thing. I mean, they are going at it.
Christ. He slaps the shit out of her.
This is not the a below the neck rule. They're just boom, you know,
on like right here on the cheek.
But I don't even know what happened. I think they just cat fight their way out of there.
Yeah, basically.
Dr. Death gets in there, lifts Alfonso. Oh, that's what happens. He lifts Alfonso above his head, tosses him into the next area code, seemingly onto Team Tazz. And this is when we finally get Tazz versus Dr. Death. They like after all of this stuff, they just like get in there and start chain wrestling. We're just like, what?
It's like, guys,
you can't go from T-bone suplexing somebody off of a balcony to hammerlocking a guy in the ring. Like, you gotta, I don't know.
I mean, you could, but again, it's a choice.
It is a choice.
There are many choices made in this show.
Have you ever heard this power bomb called a doctor bomb before? Like the gut wrench power bomb?
I feel like I have.
It is sometimes referred to it as such, and that is because of Dr. Death, Steve Williams, I believe it is. I would assume so. Just yanks up Tazz, hits him with this power bomb. Primetime Brian Lee in to make the save. And Tommy Dreamer comes back to attempt to neutralize Primetime, but Tommy Dreamer's already broken after the falling off the stage and gets choke slammed onto a trash can for the win. So Brian Lee and Tazz get the win here. And I mean, this is a very ECW match. I will say that.
Yeah, that is definitely a good way to put it. It was a match. Like I said, Dr. Death, huge gay. Thick.
Sturdy. He's a sturdy boy.
He's a fucking brick wall is what he is.
He is meat filled. What is the saying? Grass fed, meat filled. What did I say? I don't know.
What?
Anyways, speaking
oh, fuck, I'm crying.
Well, speaking of filling with me,
go?
I don't know.
There we go.
We got the ECW World Tag Team titles on the line here in a 4-way elimination match. A lot of meat in this one. I saw this on the card and I was like, I'm not even gonna bother taking notes. But I mean, I did just to know like what happened, but like, I mean, there was,
of course.
It was just you got 8 guys in there at least, just fighting all over the place. They fight to the street at some point.
Mm-hmm.
The mean streets, some may say,
the mean streets
of Philly,
Philadelphia,
West Philadelphia, born and raised, probably. Yeah. So, what did you? So when I think of ECW in this time period, like this is what I think of. Like this is the ultimate clusterfuck. Even though it like kind of culminated into something like not like pretty decent.
Yeah.
The beginning here was just, I mean, New Jack's music's playing, Rosie's here, Samoans.
Okay.
Thoughts?
So, a few things. I only knew because again, I had my list of things, and so I was like, I would hover over a name, and it would tell me who was in said team because I couldn't like tell. I knew so Perry Saturn. I have heard of many a time. He was a part of the Eliminators, who were the tag team champions. Were
Correct.
Who else was in this? New Jack was part of the Gangstas. The
Certainly
Gangstas,
was.
by the way, not Gangsters. It's A. Yes. No idea who the fuck the Bruise Brothers were, but they were fucking cool.
So they were also known as the Disciples of Apocalypse in WWF in the Attitude Era. Bald, they were like skinhead motorcycle guys. The Blue Brothers, maybe in mid 90s. What else do they do? I think that's about it.
Good. Okay, but they were cool. I liked them. And then Samoan Gangsta Party, so they came out in handcuffs, by the way, because they apparently got arrested earlier in the night. We didn't get to see that.
I guess, yeah.
Context clues, I don't know. So you said one of them was Rosie?
Yes, I'm not sure which one is Rosie, but I know one of them is Rosie.
Huh. I never would have guessed.
Yeah, he's been at it for a while, I guess, at this point. Sammy, I think it's Mac Daddy Kane. Rosie strikes me as a Mac Daddy Kane kind of guy rather than a Sammy Silk.
No, yeah, I agree, 100%.
But could be wrong.
Yeah,
could be
yeah,
wrong.
but this match really just
tickled your pickle.
What? Hey, let's not go that far.
Yeah, it didn't get you there, I guess. Yeah.
No, not there. But this, Jesus Christ, there was so much stuff happening everywhere. Again, they went outside, just literally in the middle of the road.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I mean, that's what you do there.
It's
I guess
okay.
there's a lot of people waiting out there. I don't know what they were doing out there, just loitering outside of the ECW arena.
Yeah, how the fuck did y'all were you guys just waiting for your chance for them to come outside? They're like, guys, I know this match is gonna come outside. I swear.
I just want to get one sight of Mac Daddy Kane.
Like, it became like a parking lot brawl at that point. Like, people were like going on cars and alarms were going off. Like,
would you be annoyed if there was a dent in your hood because of a wrestler in a match?
I'd be
got slammed on
pissed. Especially if it was like without my knowledge.
What if it was
like imagine you're just someone in the building and you come outside and you're like, what the fuck?
Oh, for the love of Pete, you know? That's probably what they said.
Oh, golly gee Louise.
What if it was like Rhea Ripley's ass print on your hood?
Oh, well, then that's a different story.
Right. You would just get that painted a certain color, right?
Well, yes, gotta frame it.
Yes.
I'll just take the hood off. I'll get a new hood. I'll frame that.
Try to clone her from that. Yeah. I get it. I get
clone her. Jesus. I don't have that kind of technology.
That's the only thing in the way of you doing it.
Yeah, just that. Nothing else.
So it's an elimination match. And who's the Samoans get eliminated pretty quick because they're handcuffed, because they're silly geese. Like, what do you think you're gonna do? You have no hands. You know?
It's like, again, where did you come from? Because you guys just escaped jail?
Yeah, they didn't really think glazed over that. How did they get out?
Why did they get arrested, and how did they get out?
There's just so many. We are left here with more questions than answers, I think.
I'm never going to get answers to any of these questions.
Unless they, yeah, you're probably right, actually. The Samoans get eliminated. I don't know. One of them gets hit by New Jack with a chair. He's gone. They're gone. See you later. They fight to the street. They come back. Whatever. They're fighting. There's chairs. There's whatever the hell. They're fighting all around the ring. But they get inside the ring. And one of the Bruise Brothers gets hit with a total elimination from the Eliminators. And that eliminates the Bruise Brothers. So now we're just down to the Eliminators and the Gangstas. Mm-hmm. Total elimination attempt on New Jack, but New Jack pulls Saturn in, so Cronus accidentally kicks his own partner in the head, which I thought was a slick little counter. And then ultimately, Mustafa hits Saturn with a power slam, and New Jack comes off the top rope with a chair to the head of Saturn for the win. So the Gangstas are the new tag team champions. It's pretty.
They even had their mark on it too. They, I guess, at one point took the belts and put X's on them while the Eliminators had them. New Jack was also bleeding quite heavily this entire match. I feel like that needs to be recognized as well. Like, think of like Pitbull number 2 a few matches ago, guys, if you remember. That basically.
It was a lot. It was, I would say, an obtuse amount of blood from New Jack as well.
Obtuse rubber goose. You know.
Speaking of goose, Mustafa, he has like I guess he has like a headband, or no, I think it's like his neckerchief. It gets like wrapped around the middle of his face, so he's just walking around with that the entire match. Like,
I must have like not paid attention because I thought it was there the whole time.
Maybe it was. Maybe that's the.
I was like, how can I like that? I feel like that'd be so constricting right here on my nose.
I mean, what would that be for?
That doesn't protect you from anything. Aesthetics.
Maybe his nose gets chilly.
But you're only covering that much, like just right here.
That is a thing.
Like,
I think if you have
my glasses do.
Yeah, I think people with like arthritis or something, they get like cold noses and fingers. Maybe that's not arthritis. Maybe that's something else.
I don't know.
We'll dive into that offline.
Should we ask Dr. Death? He might know. He's a doctor.
I don't know if that's what he practices particularly.
Oh, fair. Okay.
But then again, I don't know if anybody's really asked. So,
you know, that's also very true. Has anyone taken the time to ask Dr. Death how his practice is going and what exactly it is?
What are his credentials, really? I mean, is Death what his doctorate is in?
Like, sir, where is your PhD and what is it in?
Again, just so many questions that are probably going to just be left unanswered, unfortunately. Yep. But yeah, like I fully expected this to be like I almost rolled my eyes when this match came up because there have been several iterations of this match in the previous shows, and they're always just like whatever. This one, like, it ended up like kind of cool, like the visual of the Gangstas as the new champions with all the blood and just like holding up the belts with their symbol on it, and like the ending stretch to the match was pretty fun. Like it was like almost a wrestling match, I dare say.
Almost. Had the pieces of one.
They were shattered
correctly.
Yeah, they were jagged, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But boy howdy. That brings us to the main event. We got a stretcher match on our hands here. Sabu versus Mr. Rob Van Dam in a stretcher match, as I said. Thoughts? Mm-hmm. Seems like you have some thoughts on this one.
Thoughts. First and foremost, Sabu, I have felt the hand of Sabu on my hand.
Oh yeah.
Once. I was at WrestleMania 23 and it was the ECW originals versus the fucking new guys.
Oh.
And we were so high up, Sabu happened to be coming down our aisle and I was given the aisle seat because I was a small child. And right there, we're homies. Sabu.
Nice. So you did not touch Marcus Corvan, is what you're saying?
No, he wasn't in my row.
Oh, damn. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I know.
Well, that's pretty badass.
That happens.
How'd he smell?
Yeah, so
he seems like he smells good.
I feel like I was just like crying because like that was the first like wrestler experience like in person like that I had.
Oh.
I mean, like I've met Lillian Garcia I think before that, and she was a sweetheart. But like wrestler wise, Sabu.
Bit of a different speed. Kind of different ends of the spectrum. Lillian Garcia and Sabu.
Well, Lillian was like before the show even started, I think, or after, and then Sabu was like during fucking WrestleMania.
That's pretty sweet.
So, different.
I don't know if I've ever touched a wrestler. I'll make it a point to this year. I'm gonna find a wrestler. I'm gonna touch him.
This year, 2023, with
2028. I'm happy to get on it, I guess.
I think you're running out of time, Kyle. But besides that little factoid for the listeners, I gotta give something fun.
Good factoid.
Yeah, what can I say? Full of them. The stretchers just didn't want to cooperate, really.
Stretch.
They didn't really want to stretch. They like kept trying to like put them down, which like I get it. You know, you're supposed to put the stretcher down, put the person on, and pull it back up.
Yes.
Those stretchers really did not want to work in that aspect. Once they went down, they weren't coming back up.
Look, Katie, sometimes you want it to go up, but it doesn't. Like sometimes sometimes you really want it to, but sometimes things happen and then it just doesn't happen. Like it doesn't happen all the time. It just happens sometimes. Stretchers, we're talking about.
Stretchers, yes, of course.
We're talking about stretchers.
Yeah, we're talking about stretchers.
Cold.
We're also talking about damage control, but not the one with Bailey.
I have the fire. We have the power. What's the song? We have the pay. We got the power.
No, I think you're doing great.
Thanks.
You might get this video taken down because that's what it is.
It was just so resembling of the actual song. You're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, damage control.
Yeah, but damage control were they were the like ambulance, I guess, the EMTs.
They were the ambulance.
They were the ambulance. I mean,
they were the
kind
ambulance.
of.
Yeah, I mean, what defines an ambulance? I guess. Yeah, you're right.
Takes an injured person from one place to another.
Which I feel like that's kind of lazy.
Kind of what they did.
Like, shouldn't you be like stretchering your opponent? Like, why do you just go? What, you snap at a lady and you're like, hey?
Yeah, why the fuck did they have like? Typically, I don't even know the most recent stretcher match has happened in wrestling, but like, my knowledge of a stretcher match was you put your opponent on the stretcher and quickly get them up the ramp and in the back or into or down and into an actual ambulance and then the door and then they go.
Right.
There was no room for all these fucking stretchers around the ring.
Nope.
Your walkway was maybe that big.
The width of a stretcher, basically.
The width of a stretcher and nothing else. No people next to it. There was... Guys, I get it. I get the appeal, but we could have done better.
Be better. Sabu and Rob Van Dam.
Yeah, honestly.
So, interesting enough, I just watched and covered a stretcher match from 2003 between Brock Lesnar and Big Show at Judgment Day 2003. And yeah, it was like that. I mean, they obviously have a bigger walkway.
And a bigger stretcher because boys are fucking huge.
Well, I mean, Brock Lesnar had to use a forklift. It was the whole thing. But no forklifts here, I guess. But see, in the WWE, you would have like a line in the entranceway, like a yellow line. You have to push your opponent past that yellow line. Or like, even like an ambulance match. You have to get them in and close the door or whatever the hell. This one is just like, yeah, you got to put them on the stretcher and then take them out. It's like, where? Like, what defines out? Like, what? Just a vague, like, direction. Like, they're gone. They weren't even through he wasn't even through the curtain when he lost. He was like, he's far enough.
He touched the curtain and they were like, good enough.
I guess. Well,
yeah.
Well, yes, and the stretchers, I guess nobody took a tutorial on how to raise a stretcher with a body. Although, to be fair, maybe these stretchers aren't meant to have bodies falling onto them from 10 feet in the air. Perhaps. Maybe.
Perhaps. This is true.
I wouldn't know. I'm not a stretcher expert.
I am not an EMT. I've never worked with a stretcher.
I'm not even flexible. I never
though,
stretch. Yes, yes. For the match itself, I mean, it was pretty good. I mean, I'm curious as to what your thoughts are because I've seen these guys have had a series of matches before this, which I've watched. So I'm interested to hear your thoughts on it.
I mean, RVD looks like an actual child.
He does.
In this, like, he looks so fucking young, like a baby, if you will, perhaps a fetus, depending on how young you think he looks. And
also
Sabu,
kind of the same.
Sabu really does, like, it amazes me what Sabu can do. Even when he was, like, you know, a little more seasoned and a lot more damaged, could still do a lot of the shit he was doing in this.
Yeah.
I was waiting for this match when I was like, oh, RVD and Sabu? Fuck yeah. I was not expecting stretchers and things that weren't working. But ignoring those, hell of a fucking match. RVD's a little shithead. Just flipping off Sabu.
That was like my main takeaway here is like cocky shithead RVD. He was so funny. Like he would have like Sabu on the ground and then RVD would have a chair and he'd just be like, he would like mock him by throwing a chair on him like very softly just to like insult him. Like things like that I thought was fun.
I loved it. This was I mean, dare I say, my favorite match.
Yeah. I can get behind that. I have a burp coming. Maybe not. Okay, never mind. It's in there. But Sabu and RVD. So they've had I think 3 matches before this. And Sabu has won 2 of them. Rob Van Dam has won 1 of them. The whole premise of this rivalry is that like after every match, Rob Van Dam refuses to shake the hand of Sabu, refuses to give his respect. And in their last match, I believe Sabu won, but both guys ended up getting stretchered out, which is why we have a stretcher match here.
It's all coming together.
It's fun. It's not coming out. I'm gonna vomit.
Projectiles on screen.
That'd be a first, I think.
Would be the last.
There's a big "Rob's a pussy boy" chant, which I thought was fun.
These chants are wild.
Yeah, that's very like, how do you coordinate a "Rob's a pussy boy" chant?
Yeah, like people don't have like good time management in just anything, but chants specifically.
Right.
You guys can't. There's no way that was successful. Who started it? Who coordinated it? Was there a group AOL chat happening?
Oh, yeah, that's probably it.
It's like, all right, guys, this is what we're gonna do. They're like sitting there waiting.
They beep their friend from across the arena and like, all right, let's get this going.
It's like chant time. Oh shit, boys, here we go.
But no, yeah, there's some fun spots here. A lot of them kind of built off previous matches. Like in a previous match, I think Sabu won, or his win was led up to by he DDT'd Rob Van Dam on a table that was bridged on the outside, and he goes for that again here, but Rob reverses into a fisherman buster, which is how Rob Van Dam won one of the matches that he won. So there's a lot of kind of like callbacks to previous matches, which I liked. Outside of that, I mean, it was fine. I don't know if I would put this like above their other matches, but it was something. I mean, it was definitely I don't want to say clunky. It was a bit clunky at some points, but it was kind of rugged, which I guess is not a bad thing. Just like it's just a lot of jumping off things and a lot of throwing chairs at each other is most of this match.
I mean, as most of both of their, mainly Sabu's career.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, what else can you expect?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's every once in a while somebody will get a move done on them and then get rolled onto a stretcher and they'll just be like, hey, Bertha, or whatever the hell their names are. Put this guy on the stretcher and roll this fella out of here, and then they'll start rolling them, and then they'll roll off before they get to the vague area where it's declared a winner and whatever. So it's back and forth, forth and back also. But then the finish comes when Sabu is on a stretcher on the outside. Rob Van Dam goes to the top rope and goes for a front flip senton onto Sabu on the stretcher. But Sabu gets out of the way and Robert goes and careens into the stretcher and gets placed on it and then is rolled back to the finish. And I guess he loses. So Sabu wins. There it is. The stretcher match.
The build up. The anticipation was killing us.
That's long-term storytelling.
There it is. 5 minutes.
So yeah, who wins? Sabu wins.
Sabu.
And Rob Van Dam is I don't know, I guess he goes to the hospital. I don't know. Do you go to the hospital even if you don't need it? If you lose a stretcher match? Is that the punishment?
Listen, it's the punishment. You have to pay a hospital bill. Well, like we're also missing like a key fact of like Sabu. I don't know what the fuck move he does, like over the top onto RVD. His ankle slash shin just collides with the top of the fucking guardrail, the bike rack, if you will.
Yes.
So Mans is like limping the rest of the match. This happens like midway through, maybe a little before, maybe a little after. I don't know. Time's not real, especially in these types of matches.
Yeah.
But like being able to do all of that shit with one good foot and maybe like your other foot at like 60%. I'm being general.
Yeah.
It's good for him. Sabu earned that win.
I think Sabu just always has a collection of injuries, like at any given time.
Literally, like I'm surprised barbed wire wasn't involved in this match.
Yeah, that's probably upcoming though, if I had to guess. But
next pay-per-view.
But yeah, Sabu, he had a broken neck at some point. It's probably still broken at this point.
Probably.
And that was another thing in a previous match. Like Sabu was injured, and then Rob Van Dam won a match by hitting him with that Fisherman Buster off the top rope, which in theory was set out to break his neck for good, put him out of wrestling forever, do the old Pitbull #1 job on him.
Wow.
Yeah. But Sabu
not
was Sabu was able to overcome and etc. and win this match. So yeah. Happy ending, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, cocky shithead RVD didn't win, so
yeah, fuck that guy, right?
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, well, that's how this that's how the show comes to a close. I thought the finish kind of came out of nowhere. It was like kind of a weird. Like I feel like they had done more dire stuff like earlier in the match, but I guess it's just a culmination of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, very lackluster ending.
My luster is lacked for sure. What? But Doctor is in 1996 comes to a close here. If you had to grade this show from a scale of A to F, what do you think you would throw at it?
You know, Kyle, that is a very good question.
That's why I asked it.
I think I can give this pay-per-view
doing your calculations.
Oh, yeah, I'm doing mental math, and if you know me, I don't do math, so like give me a second here. Yeah. I think I can give this a B-.
Oh, see, that's almost exactly what I was thinking.
There was not too much tomfoolery that threw it off for me. Actual matches happened. They were things that did occur. I mean, the Dudleys were there. I knew more people on this than the fucking WCW bullshit you made me watch.
Yeah, it's like half the AEW rosters on this show, I think.
I mean, like, RVD's like kind of on the roster. Tazz, Jericho.
Maybe that's it.
I mean, yeah, I think this might be it. But yeah, I knew people in this. There was some interesting stories that were kind of taking place that were more seemed like tail ends of stuff, and I didn't really have a lot of information, but I put the pieces together as I could. I say a solid B-.
Yeah, I mean ECW at this point, like compared to like WWF and WCW, I feel like they have more of like a well-rounded like stories. Like WCW at this point, NWO just started, but that's like the whole show. Like that's all they have. It's like good, but that's all they have. WWF is like, it's pretty good. Like a lot of the characters are good, but there's not like a ton of great stories there. But this show had like you said, there's some good wrestling. There was some like fun moments, title changes, storyline shenanigans happening. So I was pretty entertained by this. Some ECW shows could be a chore to get through, but this was a pretty easy watch, I thought.
Yeah, you were like, when you first messaged me, it's gonna be a shit show, and I responded to you, yes, it was a shit show. Have fun, but it wasn't a bad shit show.
Good shit.
It was a good shit show.
Like what's good shit? Just like a fibrous, fluffy shit.
Ew.
But speaking of, not speaking of which,
Hey.
something that's not shitty, but is she-ity, like ShElite. I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
The ShElite Showcase. First of all, Katie, thank you once again for coming on, talking some wrestling with me.
Of course.
Where can everybody find you, listen to you, watch you, and all that jazz?
Well, yeah. Thanks again, Pretty Bird, for having me on.
Tweet.
Tweet. Yeah, so you can follow me on Twitter at KatieWrestling13. The link tree in my bio to take all things ShElite Showcase. So that's twitch.tv/ShElite Showcase and youtube.com/ShElite Showcase. Typically Thursdays, 6 p.m. Eastern. We have a Patreon over there, so if you want to see non-wrestling content, I know. Crazy.
What's that?
I know. So starting in September, I have done one with other people every month. So patreon.com/ShElite Showcase, you can see that. And I'm also always on, Smacking It Raw with Matt and Vince. You might make a cameo, depending on when this comes out.
Perhaps.
Getting Off is the horror podcast we do over there. We just did, what did we just watch? Burying the X and Wishmaster, which, what a time. B movie, type shit.
Those are the best.
The Wishmaster was a fucking time. I had a blast watching it.
Mm.
Yeah, I do a lot of things, and I'm a busy gal.
Some say the busiest gal in podcasting.
Some might say the busiest and hardest working gal in the biz.
The busiest scalloped gal in the business.
Scalloped.
I'm just looking at my Google search history right now. I have 3 tabs open. What does scalloped mean? Thick-thighed frog and Regina George neck brace. What is that called? What have we done here?
Created a fucking masterpiece. That's what we have done.
It's a piece of something, that's for sure.
Once again, thank you to Katie from the ShElite Showcase for joining me once again, allowing me to introduce her to more promotions and assuring that she never watches them again. So always a pleasure with Katie. Go check her out. Like I said, the ShElite Showcase, wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as live, usually every Thursday on YouTube and Twitch and all that stuff. So go check her out. And hey, while you're here, why don't we go ahead and hit that jingle?
WCW, ECW, WWF, who's the hardest promotion? Eric or Vince or Paulie? I think we can agree, though, it's mostly shit.
All right. Hardest promotion of 1996 continues. Did ECW Doctor Is In 1996 change any of these points, any of these criterias? What are they, Kyle? Please tell me. Well, I will. Why don't you just hold your horses? But hey, first things first, before we get into anything, let's grade this show. All right? Why don't we just do that? From a scale of S to F, S being one of the best shows ever, to F being just a show that I would have rather F being the drizzling shits. So A Doctor Is In. What are we thinking, folks? What grade are we thinking? Definitely at least a C. I know we spoke towards the end of that podcast. We were thinking B-, and I think that's pretty fair. I gave Heatwave a C. I think I would definitely say this show is better than Heatwave. So I'm going to throw a B at it. It's not A territory. It's not like, wow, it just blew my nuts out of the water. But it was a good show. I had fun, and we furthered some stories, furthered some characters, got some good wrestling, some blood, some title changes. Come on now. What else could you ask for from ECW? So we're going to throw a B at it. So now we go to this tab. By the way, if you're listening on the audio version, I am sharing my screen so you can follow along, but I will also talk you through it. But just in case you are a visual person, unless you're blind, well, a visual person, I guess. So we look here towards the bottom, and we look at WWF, WCW, and ECW, and we look at which promotion currently has the highest average grade for their pay-per-views or for their special events, what have you. Currently, WWF is still the highest average, sitting at around a B, whereas ECW is just above WCW at I guess like a C minus, D plus. I don't know. But WWF maintains the best overall average grade amongst these companies, so they get 6 points and before we get into everything else, let's recap. Currently, WWF is in the lead with 14 points. ECW in second with 6 points. WCW in last with 2 points. How do we get points? Hardest part of the ring? Well, I'll tell you. We look at each criteria. So we got the tier list. So we got the pay-per-views. We look at the best and the worst pay-per-view. In-ring, we look at a more general kind of sense, which company has the best in-ring product. And we also look at the best match and the worst match. Then we also look at the rosters, which company has the best roster. Then we look at out-of-ring stuff, gimmicks, characters, promos, storylines. You know the deal. And we look at the best and the worst when it comes to that as well. And all of these criteria have point values associated to them and negative point values for the worst stuff. So let's get into it. Best pay-per-view of the year. Currently, we're tracking WrestleMania 12 as the best. At this point, I believe it's the only one with an A. So WrestleMania 12 will still hold on to that. So WWF maintains those 2 points. Worst pay-per-view of the year. WCW Super Brawl. So Doctor Is In was definitely not worse or better than any of these shows. So WCW maintains the worst pay-per-view of the year, being Super Brawl. So they maintain that negative 1 point. In-ring. Best overall in-ring product. We are currently tracking WWF as the best. So we are off the heels in terms of WWF, just for context. We are off the heels of In Your House 9, I believe. Was it In Your House 9 or 8? In Your House 8. I just did this. No, it was 9. Right? Hold on, let me double check. International Incident, yes. So we are hot off an International Incident, which was a really good show, to be honest. Great 6-man tag at the end. You also had like Austin and Mero going at it. You got, you got like Owen Hart around. You got Ahmed Johnson, who is still like, he's still Ahmed Johnson, but he's very entertaining. Sid's getting hot. What else we got going on? The tag team is winning. So that's where we're at with WWF. Doctor Is In. We had some pretty good matches. We had the TV title. We had Shane Douglas and Pitbull was pretty fun. The tag team scramble was kind of a mess, but that was kind of by design, and it kind of built up to a pretty cool moment at the end. Raven's still injured, so he's not really contributing. You got stuff like Johnny Smith and Louis Spicoli popping in, giving you some traditional wrestling. We talked about how ECW at this point is kind of trying to compete in the cruiserweight realm, throwing out Mikey Whipwreck and Devin Storm, I guess, is fine. I don't know if the in-ring at this point in ECW is better than the WWF. I don't think it is at this point. We have some good stories, which we'll touch on later. But I think in-ring, WWF still edges out ECW. In WCW, they got the cruiserweights, but that's about it. But Hog Wild is coming up soon, so that might change some things. But it might not, so we'll see. Best match of the year. We are currently tracking Shawn Michaels versus Diesel at In Your House 7 as the best. I don't think anything on this show is better than that. The best show of the night, probably Shane versus Pitbull, franchise versus Pitbull, probably the best match of this. Or even Jericho versus Scorpio was pretty good. I don't think any of those matches outdo Shawn versus Diesel. So WWF maintains that 2 points. Worst match, Ultimate Warrior versus Goldust, and also at In Your House 7. I don't think anything was worse than that on this show. What was the worst match of this? I guess the tag match? Unless I'm forgetting something. Yeah, nothing on this show was terrible. So yeah, no, nothing's worse than that. So WWF maintains that negative 1 point. Roster and star power. So overall, who's got the best collection of wrestlers on their program? Currently, we're tracking WCW as the best. Now, mind you, we got Nash and Hall are officially over there. You also got your Hogan, your Flair, your Cruiserweights, your Eddie Guerrero, you got Conan, you got the Harlem Heat, the Nasties. Like, they got a pretty loaded roster over there, to be honest. Whereas ECW, I mean, there's been no changes per se since last we looked at this. So I wouldn't think there'd be any reason to change that. So I think WCW holds on to that 4 points. Unless I'm forgetting anybody. I mean, you got like Louis Spicolli coming in and Dr. Death, but he's not like a mainstay in ECW, I wouldn't say. So we're going to keep it as WCW. So they keep those 4 points. Wrestler of the Year, currently tracking Shawn Michaels. Now, again, coming off of that great 6-man tag at In Your House 9. So he's got a lot of stock going right now. Who would, from this show, who do we think would be competing? You could throw in a Tazz potentially, maybe a Shane Douglas, even a Pitbull, number 2. As weird as it is to say. Maybe even a Jericho or a Scorpio or RVD or a Sabu. I just don't think any of them currently are as consistent or have reached the heights that Shawn Michaels has this year. So far. So I would say Shawn Michaels holds on to that for right now. Shane Douglas is making a run, I think, dude. Because he's got the great stories and his great contributions on the mic and his character work, where Shawn Michaels most of his good stuff is in the ring. His character stuff kind of sucks, actually. Which is something to consider. But as of right now, we'll keep Shawn Michaels there. But that's something that he's not far ahead. I'll say that. He's not running away with it. But I would put him at the top for sure. Worst of the Year, Ultimate Warrior. Yeah, no one on this show I don't think would knock him off. So we'll keep Warrior there. WWF keeps that negative 1 point. Out of ring. So again, gimmicks, characters, promos, storylines, all that stuff. Who has the best overall in terms of these companies? So we talked about it a lot in the episode, and I've even brought it up during this. ECW's got great stories. I mean, their in-ring can sometimes leave some to be desired, at least, in the summer of 96. But, I mean, the Ravens, we talked about it. I mean, you guys heard it. Raven and Sandman, with Sandman's family getting involved. You got Pitbull number 1 is Regina George, and you got Shane Douglas poking at him, and Francine turning on the Pitbulls, and then you got Brian Lee and Tommy Dreamer. You got the Gangstas and their stuff, their build to their championship win, their rivalry with the Eliminators. There's some good stuff going, man. I would say ECW maintains best overall out of ring quality, so they get those 4 points, or they keep those 4 points. Best character storyline. We're tracking Tazz right now. Now it's gonna continue to be ECW here because, of course, we just reviewed an ECW show, so any changes would be based on that. But I guess not necessarily, because let's look at Tazz. See, I've spoken about it before. Love his presentation. His promos are fun. How many great matches, though, has he had? A lot of his squash material or tagged, like this show, he was kind of just a small part of a tag match. I feel like we're kind of treading water with Tazz a little bit at this point. He's still a great character, but is he the best right now? Is the NWO better than Tazz is at this point? I don't think yet. I think Hog Wild is going to change some things. Perhaps. But yeah, I'll save that for the Hog Wild review for any potential changes to WCW. But as of right now, anybody in ECW doing better than Tazz? Is Raven and Sandman, is that story better than what Tazz is doing? You know, they tried the blind Sandman. He tried to he can't get the title even though Raven's not fighting for it. I mean, there's there's some gaps in logic and, you know, the stipulations, but I might throw Tazz and Raven here. Or even Shane Douglas. That's a thought. Linking up with Francine. I think we're still early stages of that, though, because I know Triple Threat becomes a thing eventually. I don't know if that's 96 or 97 or even later than that. I don't know, but I might change this for now because, you know, Sandman, Raven, we're seeing progression in that story. We're seeing a big spotlight on that story, whereas Tazz, like I said, is kind of just spinning his wheels a little bit. It feels like. But regardless, we got ECW maintaining that. So they keep those 2 points. Worst character storyline, Dungeon of Doom. So again, this might be something we change in the next WCW review. Which I believe will be in 2 weeks. Hog Wild. Dungeon of Doom is kind of taking a back seat, dude. And you know, while it's not good per se, if it's not a prominent part of TV, then I wouldn't say it's the worst part because it's not taken away from this show. But what else would compete with that? Anything from this show? Worst character. I kind of want to throw Damian Kane, the Godfather of ECW. And a lot of you are listening and you're like, who the hell is that? I already forgot what you talked about earlier because he's so annoying to watch. But again, I don't think he's that prominent of a part to warrant that. I can't really think of any bad characters right now in ECW. Maybe like the Samoan Gangsta Party, but again, like who knows how long they stay in the picture. Gangstas are good. I mean, Mikey Whipwreck, maybe? Could throw Mikey Whipwreck in there. But I don't know, he's had some fine matches, so I don't think he would. I don't know if that would fit. We'll see. I think if anything were to overtake the Dungeon of Doom, it's probably not going to be ECW. Probably either WCW or WWF would take that out. But we got Hog Wild coming up. Like I said, we also got SummerSlam in a few weeks as well. So something will probably overtake that eventually. So we'll keep an eye on that. But we'll keep her at WCW for now. So no changes, I don't believe. So the score stays the same, but we got some rickety ones that are about like on the precipice of getting overtaken. So WWF still in the lead with 14, ECW with 6, WCW with 2. So I think that about does it, huh? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know. I'm all for input. And I forgot to even mention this in the intro, but I do have a Discord now, which will also be in the description of this podcast. The link to it's also on my X account. Feel free to pop in. You disagree with anything that I've talked about here. You think something else is the best or something else is the worst. Holla at me. I'm willing to hear you out. But this is kind of how I see it so far. But we're roughly we're a little past halfway through 1996. But in Apron bump time, that's, you know, I don't know, 2 more years or some shit. We'll follow along. I hope you follow along. I mean, I will be following along because I'm doing it. So that's all I got for you guys today. Appreciate you guys sticking around. Appreciate you guys tuning in, watching, listening, tasting. All of that stuff really means a lot. Give the likes, stars, comments, pokes, and more importantly, have a happy Kwanzaa. Even though it seems like it's a dying currency, but I digress. Appreciate you guys. Love you all. Big ol' smooches all around. Have a blessed day. Have a happy holidays from my mouth to yours. I'm hard.
Yeah.
And the hardest, talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. It's the hardest, talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started.